There are moments in the sky that feel like standing at the threshold of two worlds, not quite an ending and not yet a beginning. The ancients call this space the meeting point of the Alpha and the Omega, the moment where one cycle dissolves before the next emerges. Welcome, luminous souls, to Luna Alchemy, a space where moon cycles and cosmic wisdom weave together to guide your evolution. Here we follow the true sky, honoring the actual astronomical placement of the luminaries rather than zodiac calendars. This allows us to feel the sky as it truly moves, a living cosmic rhythm that mirrors our own cycles of transformation. Today, we explore the new moon on March 18th, 2026 at 6:23 p.m. Pacific Time. This new moon occurs in Pisces, but it most closely aligns with the tail at the constellation of Cetus. And the central theme of this new moon is this: we are standing at the threshold of the Alpha and the Omega, the moment where one cycle dissolves before the next one begins. This new moon invites us to pause in that space between endings and beginnings, to release illusions that have completed their purpose, and to listen deeply for the subtle voice of intuition guiding us forward. New moons represent seed moments. They mark the beginning of a new lunar cycle, a time when intentions can quietly take root. But not all new moons feel the same. Some are bold and activating, others are inward and reflective. Earlier this month, we experienced a lunar eclipse which brought a fiery initiation of the heart. That eclipse asked us to step into courage, visibility, and authentic expression. But this new moon is not about action. It is about integration. It is the moment after the emotional tides have shifted, the quiet space where we begin to understand what those changes mean. Let's discuss the energy themes for the constellations of Pisces and Cetus. Pisces energy is associated with intuition, compassion, surrender, emotional depth, and spiritual awareness. But the location of this new moon adds a fascinating layer. It occurs in the tail of the Cetus constellation. Cetus is often described in mythology as a sea creature or monster, but some have questioned this archetype, including one of my astrology mentors, Jana Darso. Under her guidance, I am learning to reinterpret the star patterns and their influence. She believes Cetus represents something much older and more mysterious. Instead, Cetus is the great cosmic whale, a primordial being moving through the vast ocean of consciousness. Where Pisces swims through emotional waters, Cetus moves through the vast ocean of consciousness itself. It is not simply a creature of the sea. It is a navigator of the ether, the subtle field through which consciousness travels. This makes the tale of Cetus especially symbolic. The tail represents the moment after the great movement. Picture a whale breaching the surface. When the massive body has passed and only the currents remain, the waters begin to settle, the turbulence fades, and what remains is stillness, awareness. This is where the new moon occurs. This is why the tail of Cetus symbolizes dissolution, surrender, karmic release, and quiet integration. The element associated with this region of the sky is ether, and ether represents that subtle field beyond the classical elements. It is the fifth element. It is the invisible layer of reality through which consciousness moves. When the sun and moon align here, the energy becomes extremely subtle. This new moon may bring quiet recalibration of your energetic field. intuitive insights or downloads, emotional purification, and a deeper awareness of what is ending in your life. This is not a loud new moon. It is a spiritual reset beneath the surface. Now let's explore the celestial alignments supporting this moment. To begin, we have the sun and moon aligned with the fixed star Diphda, the brightest star in the constellation of Cetus. Diphda is located at the tail of Cetus, so this would be the tail of the great cosmic whale. This is a star of quiet understanding after experience. When the sun and moon align here, the new moon becomes a moment of emotional clearing, releasing residue from past experiences, karmic completion, recognizing patterns that have reached their natural end, dissolving illusion, seeing reality clearly, and finally, subtle reorientation, receiving intuitive guidance about the next chapter. The tale of Cetus reminds us that wisdom does not arrive in the storm. It arrives after the waters have grown still. Moving on to our next alignment, I want to highlight Mercury. Mercury during this new moon will be conjunct the North Node in Aquarius. Mercury represents communication, thinking, ideas, messages. The North Node represents the direction of collective and personal evolution. When Mercury aligns with the North Node, it can bring important insights, conversations that shift perspective, ideas that point toward the future. You may notice certain thoughts returning repeatedly. Pay attention. These may be clues about the direction your life is evolving toward. Mercury also forms an opposition to the fixed star Tuban, the ancient pole star in the constellation of Draco, the dragon. Tuban was once Earth's north star. It happened to be considered the pole star when the Great Pyramid of Giza was designed and its entrance passage aligned to it. The shift away from Tuban to Polaris, which is our current North Star, is part of a 26,000-year cycle caused by the wobbling of Earth's rotational axis. Tuban symbolizes ancient wisdom and cosmic guardianship. This alignment suggests a dialogue between modern thinking and ancient knowledge, between logic and cosmic memory. You may find yourself revisiting spiritual teachings, ancestral wisdom, or intuitive insights that feel older than this lifetime. The mind is learning to listen to deeper intelligence. Moving on to Venus. During this new moon, Venus will be conjunct the fixed star Alpheratz in the constellation of Andromeda. Venus represents love, beauty, relationships, values, and Venus aligns with Alpheratz, a star associated with freedom and opportunity. Alpheratz carries themes of independence, a love of freedom, liberation, breaking limitations. When Venus meets this star in Pisces, it can bring emotional liberation. Relationships may evolve, old emotional constraints may dissolve, and the heart may become more receptive. A beautiful question to reflect on during this new moon is, where is my heart ready to experience greater freedom? Moving on to the next alignment, this new moon also aligns near the fixed star Scheat in the constellation of Pegasus. Scheat represents the power of intellect, the human mind seeking to understand reality. But Scheat sits right at the edge of the cosmic ocean. It represents the moment where logic reaches its limits, where the mind begins to realize that not everything can be solved through analysis. And this is where the symbolism becomes beautiful, because Cetus moves through the ether beyond the reach of ordinary thought. So this new moon becomes a philosophical initiation. The mind reaches the edges of its understanding, and intuition takes over. This is not the death of intellect. It is the moment when intellect bows to deeper wisdom. To summarize the core message, this new moon carries the feeling of standing at the threshold of the Alpha and the Omega, the beginning and the end. The Omega represents endings, the Alpha represents beginnings. But this moment belongs to neither. It is the space between cycles, the breath between exhale and inhale, the moment where the past has completed its work, but the future has not yet fully emerged. And in that stillness, intuition becomes easier to hear. This new moon invites us to stand at that threshold, releasing the illusions of the past, listening deeply to the subtle voice of intuition, and allowing the next chapter to emerge from stillness. Okay, now let's move on to our ritual portion of our episode. And this is a short guided meditation to attune to the cosmic stillness. Close your eyes for a moment and take a slow breath in and gently release. Imagine standing beside a vast cosmic ocean. The water is calm. In the distance, a great whale moves silently through the ether. You feel the currents it leaves behind, subtle waves of energy moving through the invisible field around you. But now the whale disappears into the horizon. The waters grow still. This is the moment after the movement, the moment where the universe whispers rather than speaks. In that stillness, guidance arrives. You are not meant to force the next step, only to listen. With each breath, imagine emotional residue dissolving into the water. Old expectations, old stories, old illusions. Let them drift away. Now imagine a soft, luminous mist rising from the ocean. This is the field of ether, the subtle space where intuition moves. Instead of searching for answers, simply listen. Notice what feeling, image, or insight begins to emerge. You do not need to force it. Your inner guidance arrives in stillness. Repeat quietly. I release what has completed its cycle. I trust the wisdom emerging from within. I allow intuition to guide my next chapter. I nurture the quiet beginnings unfolding in my life. Take one final breath. And allow the ocean to dissolve back into the space around you, and gently return. Thank you for sharing this lunar threshold with me. If this episode resonated, I invite you to subscribe, share it with someone who may need a moment of reflection, or leave a comment about what this new moon is revealing for you. May this cycle help you release what has completed its journey and listen for the subtle wisdom guiding your next beginning. Until next time, luminous souls.